Outing Scum. OutingScum.com, failure to report. June 27, 2011. Another edition of Outing Scum. Well, what does failure to report mean? What am I talking about? I'm going to give you two examples, two cases. In my divorce, I brought in photographs that were lewd, were pornographic, that my ex-husband had taken of the children. They were photos, so there was no question about what was being seen, and it was very clear that they were pornography photos. They were not accidents. They were not pictures of nude babies, cute nude babies, that kind of thing. These were lewd pornography photos in which my ex-husband instructed the children on how to pose. I never saw these, and I found them when I was looking for other things hidden in the cabinet that he had kept locked. And I brought them immediately to Susan Lipschitz, Dr. Susan Lipschitz, who has since passed away, and showed them to her. She's a psychiatrist, and she said these were definitely photos of perversion. They were not photos of any artistic value, and they were not children's photography. And so that was clear. I then got referred to two other centers to get counseling as a family because I wanted to protect the children, and they needed to know what had happened to them, and the whole thing needed to be real and discussed and made open and true. So I was referred to two centers in Los Angeles. One was the Kennedy Center, and the other one was the Reese Center. And I also had a child therapist. His name was Greg Hansen. Now, that's a lot of therapists, when you think about it. That you're seeing this therapist, you're seeing that therapist, you're in group therapy. Not one of those physicians or therapists reported any of this to child services. And I had been taught in obstetrics and gynecological care, if I ever saw a woman who I thought had been beaten or any kind of physical trauma or mental trauma, I would report them. And I did, routinely, because that was my training. You can't imagine how I felt in finding out that no one reported any of these incidents or events or what they were even finding out in therapy to the authorities. It never happened. So when that doesn't happen, I don't think people really understand. What that means is that the whole event didn't really occur because it's not official. And there's like vague language in the therapy files, and therapists tend to not want to testify or go to court or say anything. That's what people don't really realize, that there's a great deal of silence that goes on. Now, my friend Patty Hyde, who had been a patient previously, had issues with violence in her marriage. There was accusations of choking children, choking her. She had photographs of being physically beaten so that she had a black eye, and she had actual thumbprints on her throat in the photo, and I actually saw her after one of these events. I didn't see the event, I saw her after, I only saw the physicality. So I can't tell you the whole story. The only story I can tell you is that in doing research on what had happened to her, I talked to all of her therapists. And there was evidence of physical abuse. The therapist even told me, yeah, they believed it, and that in talking with Mr. Marin, he talked about needing some help and working on abusive behavior, and admitted to some abuse as well. And here's the clincher. Not one of the 4 therapists that I interviewed ever reported any of this either. It was never reported. And if you don't report these things, they don't exist. And what happened was when I was talking to the therapist, they would say, well, I thought so and so, the previous therapist, had done it. Well, I thought the other therapist had done it. Well, I thought this therapist had done it. So what they were doing was thinking that each other was doing this, never even talking to each other. They weren't even consulting each other, which would have been like a really smart thing to do, to consult each other and see what was going on with this case, to talk to each other. It never happened. And this is common. The non reporting of violence, the non reporting of perverted acts, the non reporting of issues for children are not reported. But in Los Angeles, we have another problem. In the Child Welfare Service Division, we have a special group. That's the group for the very wealthy and celebrities. They don't even have, if a celebrity is found doing something wrong with children or something like that, it's not put in the public record. They have like a secret file so that there'll be no lawsuits, or somebody won't try to sue the county because somebody said something about some star. So they have a secret group, and they're not reported in any normal way. And from what I have seen, they don't do any normal follow-up either. It's very bizarre, and it's not appropriate. It doesn't work. It doesn't protect children. It doesn't protect any victim of violence. It doesn't protect the society, and it doesn't help the perpetrator. Perpetrator doesn't get the proper treatment, doesn't even get diagnosed properly. Nothing really goes right with this kind of situation. That's what we have here in LA. We have a non-working system, unfunctional. And that's for non-reporting. That's what I talk about when I talk about not reporting.